hippies.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's yeah, and weird laws like that. Yeah, they date like around the 60s to keep
No
to keep.
shoes, no shirt, no service.
Yeah, that's hippie shit.
Oh
That's to
wow.
keep the hippies out. Yeah.
And then they should have added no patchouli to that motherfucker.
Well, yeah, they didn't know any better.
Oh, good morning, everyone. It is August 25th,
No,
2023,
I don't
and
like
this
it. I don't
is
like it.
the
Really?
Ragin
We're already at the
Talk.
end of August? No, I
Yeah.
refuse.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
I
oh
got
my
really sidetracked this morning and kind of forgot we were doing this. So now I'm trying to get my shit together.
Right. No, yeah, no. I'm doing a little cottage industry over here. I got some new business cards and I forgot to tell them to round the corners. So luckily I have this clipper thing that rounds corners. So since yesterday I've just been rounding corners on these
You can
business
do
cards.
that? I can totally rounded corners.
Yeah, no, I forgot. Yeah, because it was an option that I forgot to click on, on the on the printer. So that's just what I've been doing. Rounding corners.
Oh my God. You ready for this?
Absolutely not. But hit it.
Man, Nick must
Yeah.
be having a killer stream this morning. Or
Oh,
maybe
this
Brian's live too. Who
Oh,
knows?
that's true. Yeah. Whenever
I'm having
Brian's live, it's
abandonment
like
issues.
yeah, huh? Oh, that's true. Yeah. So this is the corner rounder. It's a little jammed up because I've been using it since yesterday. It's right. I guess it's a benefit of having like a Michael's like a couple of blocks away to pick up stuff like this.
This is an
So
interesting gizmo.
yeah. So check it out.
Oh, what?
Uh,
Oh, look at you.
so
nice.
yeah, so that's what I've been doing. So like I said, it's like they came like that because like I said, I forgot to order the rounded corners. So yeah, so I've just been doing this.
Too.
I've just been doing this. Oh, you got it too? There we go. See now, rounded corners. Let me look at it again.
Nice.
Let me see it again. The card. Yeah, so we both have so we're both ready. I'm ready for Baltimore Comic Con. You're actually what are you gonna do with your cards?
They're going everywhere.
Right. All the
like
local comic
random
shops.
ass people, comic book shops, whatever.
Right, that's true. So I had come up, so I had decided to do these little square cards. I even did a batch of my own as well. The only difference is that my QR code doesn't have anything on the back because what I've seen people do with these cards is that at the convention they put their table number underneath it.
Yeah.
So that if anyone it's like, oh, I'll catch you later, and it's like, okay, just remember this is the table. This is my table here. So,
right.
so just something. I mean, I thought that was pretty cute. I guess this seemed to have been like all the rage on all the Artist Alley videos that I was watching. These little square business cards. It's like, oh, okay, all right, we could do that. We could try that out. So. Yeah, so rounding corners. Yes. So so always remember to round your corners when you're placing an order. Oh my goodness. So I guess it's like we're just going to be by ourselves today, except for the, we have some eyeball people joining us today, keeping us company.
Come on in. Say
exactly.
hello. Don't be shy.
Yeah, so we got some eyeball people. So I guess it's just going to be us for a bit until Nicholas or Brian stop doing their show, but that's how it goes, right? That's how it goes. So so I guess we might as well just
get into it.
get into it. Yeah, that's true. Let me see. So where's my stuff here? So hello everyone, or who at least the eyeball people watching, because ain't nobody in the comments today. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and you know what that means.
I got nowhere else to go! I got nowhere else to go! I got nothing else.
Especially feels like that today. And I am known for the furry fan. Oh, hello, Rue. Thank you for coming. There we go. One person in the chat. Thank you. Oh, where's my potato? Where's the potato? Let's give a little fanfare for Rue in the chat. Thank you so much. And I am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales, which returns to Kickstarter next year, 2024, with the brand new, with the new story arc, Tears of the Mother, starting with a re-release of issues 1 through 5 and the brand new issue 6. So next year is going to be busy for Tall Tales. And I am also known for my mature audience's medieval fantasy drama, EGORAVEN, Heir of the First Unicorn, in its last week on Kickstarter with issue 7 out of a 15-issue run. So already we're at issue 7, and already we're 7 days away. Next Friday, we will be closing out the campaign for EGORAVEN issue 7, only to start the whole process all over again at the end of September. But hey, it's like, so all the links are in the show notes below in the link tree. You can read meanwhile, you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales, TAILS online.com and egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, LAGER, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified whenever any of our shows go live. And to tell you more about it, here's Nita.
Indie Comics Network is a YouTube channel that is devoted to focusing on indie comics and stuff. And there's shows about marketing and stuff. And there's shows about comics and stuff.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff, mostly all about indie comics and artwork, and it's like draw streams, and we try to keep it like kind of like closely knit and related to the topic at hand. Is there any other housekeeping that we need to do?
Not in the beginning, no.
Not at the beginning. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Probably the only thing that I just want to just remind everybody that in about like 3 weeks, I will be at Baltimore Comic-Con September 8th to the 10th, Baltimore Convention Center, Baltimore, Maryland, at table H28 in the Artist Alley. I will have copies of Tall Tales and EGORAVEN and some rare furry sketchbooks that you can pick up. This is the last of the stock that I have for those sketchbooks before I reboot myself, pretty much, essentially. So come on over. Let's have a good time, hanging out and whatnot, like hanging out like we do here on the show, except in person. So.
And no touchy.
As always. That's the same rule as it is here. No touchy. Oh my goodness. But yeah. So I've been just like, clipping these cards since yesterday. Just to kind of, so I'm going to be like giving these out.
Graphic cards would have been so much better, because now I'm thinking about it, taking them in and out of the wallet and how tore up they get.
Right. Yeah, I know, because it's
but
like,
these are pretty fucking hard cards. Like, damn, dude. Damn.
Yeah. Well,
this isn't even fucking paper.
Well, it should be. I mean, it's because you got to remember, they laminate them. These aren't laminated.
Well, it's heavily
or they
laminated.
got UV, or it's UV coated.
It feels like fucking plastic.
Right. Oh, really? I mean,
yeah.
But rounded corners seems to be like, because even like regular business cards that I've been seeing these girls pull out for their booths, everything's rounded corners. Everything's rounded corners for your safety. I guess. I don't know. You know, I mean, it looks it's there we go. Here's the last one. So finally I'm done. So here's the last. I don't know. I think that there's something about rounded corners that I don't know. It kind of gives it a nice
It's
finish.
girly and dainty and soft.
You know, it looks finished. that's what it is. Yeah. So with my cards, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create like a batch of stickers that say Baltimore Comic Con and then like the table number.
Right.
And then as I need it, I'm just going to put it right there. You know, so I'm not like wasting cards, you know, for a show, you know, for one specific show. So that's what I was going to do. I have regular business cards too. But I figure, you know, it's like these aren't that expensive to make, so I might as well, you know, put these on the table. So there we go. So I'm all ready. So I'm all set. I just gotta, you know, for the show. Oh, and I just realized I can't close this. Okay, so I gotta fix that. So okay, so there we go. So at least I don't have to. I didn't want to do too many at once because I was afraid that I was going to start feeling it here because all those hand crunches all day. So, oh my goodness. So what you been up to, Nita?
Working.
Yeah.
Like no kidding. It's been edit all over the place.
Yeah, I just finished one of the 3 books that I'm working on. So I'm working on 3 books at the same time. I'm working on EGORAVEN issue 8. I'm working on EGORAVEN the Unicorn King's Daughter and Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut. I just finished Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut last night, and I was putting that file together, and it's just like, oh boy, that's a lot of covers just for one book. I think this supplement has like 6 variant covers, you know, and it's just like, you know, I really
didn't need any because the content is going to be worth the extra money.
Right? You think it's worth the money? What did
Dude?
Yeah. Right. Well, you know, that is kind of the point of the experiment that is Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut, you know, at the end of September. So kind of like taking everything that I've learned, mashing it into one campaign and seeing what happens. You know, I mean, in the end, you know, that's kind of what it is. But still, though, I mean, my main cover has like almost 30 variants. And it's like, wow, that's a lot. Yeah. So if you, you love collecting variant covers and alternative covers, so watch out for Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut at the end of September. Launches September 25th because, oh my God, you know, it's going to be an odd one for me. You know, it's like there is going to be the one book for those of you who just want like a regular book. I do have the shorts collection, Tales from the Outer Kingdoms, which is directly related to the main series, Heir of the First Unicorn. So if you just want something, if you just want the basic canon book, that's going to be on the campaign as well. But if you just want to see what happens when I'm just messing around, the Unicorn King's Daughter and Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut will also be on the campaign individually and as levels. So you can mix and match. So you can mix and match however you like. And also, I decided that those 2 books specifically are going to be Kickstarter exclusives. Nice. So not just the variants, but if you want like Tales from the Outer Kingdoms, that one will go in my store after the campaign ends, along with, because it's part of the series. Right. But those 2 books, now if you want them, you have to get them on Kickstarter. I'm not going to put them. I'm not going to put them on the store. I just think that
books for science.
Yeah, they're books for science. Yes, they are. So they will only be available on Kickstarter. They will not be available after the Kickstarter ends. So if you really want those books, you have to get them on the campaign. So
you're lucky I'm dressed, dude.
Well, I missed it.
I forgot. Oh yeah, look, check it out.
The bandana. Yes, I know.
I kind of forgot I was vlogging this morning.
Yeah, she washed her hair and everything. So I have to wash my hair. I mean, at least it's not too muggy today, so I'm not frizzing up like I usually do. Looking like a fucking alpaca,
An alpaca.
But yeah, so I was talking about rebooting myself, so we were doing some maintenance yesterday, and Nita had told me what Jose's topic for Sunday, for his Sunday show, Talking Comics on a Sunday with JD Calderon. And it was about so what was his topic again? Like, are we too dependent on Kickstarter?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, he had a long ass title, but thank you. We tried.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, we tried.
I love Jose and his titles.
Yeah, his title's like a mile long, but but we boiled it down to, are we too dependent on Kickstarter? I mean, for me, it would be crowdfunding in general. But I was talking to him yesterday about it, and I go, yeah, what was the because I thought it was because we've pretty much been having this discussion back and forth, not directly related to Kickstarter, but like I said, it's like I'm talking about like kind of like rebooting myself, like the other side of my art stuff that I do. And I thought that had something to do with it. And it's like, well, yeah, he goes, oh, partially. He says that he got really uptight when it took about a week for Kickstarter to approve his campaign, because remember, he had to cancel the first campaign because it glitched out and it screwed up all his timing. It defaulted to like 40 something days on a Kickstarter, and it's like, no way. It's like, he says, I could run 3 campaigns at that time. So he had to cancel that, and he had to do a new one. He had to get a new one approved, and it took almost a week for them to approve it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's like, and he was like pacing the walls, man. I mean, it's like, if anything was really putting Jose in a bad mood, it was not getting approved and not running a Kickstarter. I mean, really, if there's such thing as a Kickstarter addiction, Jose has it. That's for sure.
Because he likes to just run over there, click go, and it's done.
Right, it's done, and then it's like, into the wild it goes, right? So so what happened was that, like, he started thinking about it. It's like, hey, it's like, maybe it's not a good idea we put all our eggs in like this one basket, this one crowdfunding basket. And he was talking about going back to Indiegogo and whatnot. But it's like, the thing is, though, is that, when you look at all these other crowdfunding platforms, it's like, well, okay, so it's like, you'll be able to run a campaign there, but do you have an audience that will follow you to those other, it's like, even if you were to do a backer kit, right, which is supposed to be the heir apparent of Kickstarter. I mean, to tell you the truth, I really haven't heard much about it. I mean, there have been like
I did in the beginning. In the very beginning.
Yeah, very beginning. And then it's like, I know that there have been some like tremendous campaigns on there. I think that Iron Circus raised like $1.5 million for the Lackadaisy animated series.
The one that won't stay off my fucking Facebook page?
Yeah, exactly. That one. I mean, that's on Backer Kit. But other than that, it's like, I'm not really seeing any buzz around it. And the thing is, though, and it's like, I've played around with the back end of Backer Kit for a little bit, but it's like, okay, like in the end, you still have to bring your audience,
right?
Because it's like, is it worth it? And we have all these crowdfunding platforms. It's like, are you really gaining anything by going on 5 crowdfunding platforms? You make like $2,000 on Kickstarter, and then you're lucky if you can make like $100, on all the other, like, it's like, okay, you can make $200 on Indiegogo, or $50 on Crowdfunder, or or whatever you can do on the other platforms. It's like, I like Kickstarter because it is or either it ain't. I like shit to be definitive. Yeah, I mean, also, it's like, I just think that Kickstarter makes it it's easier to build an audience on Kickstarter rather than starting from scratch on BackerKit or any of the others. Like they want you to bring your audience, but
Right.
Kickstarter, you can actually start an audience there. I remember when I did my first campaign, and it's like, I think it's like I had like, I started off with like 40 backers, or something like that. And it's like, and now it's like I'm usually hovering around 120 to 150. 120, oh well, yeah, 159 I think was the most backers that I've had. So I kind of hover around there now. So it's like, yeah, so I got 40 backers out the gate just by showing up, and then I was able to kind of like build from there. So yeah, and I think like I raised like $700, on those backers. Actually, you know what? Let me see something. Let me just check for sure, because I feel like I'm overstating something.
No, I think you're right.
Let me just check. Let me see. So the first, oh no, I know 40 something backers was actually my second campaign. This is where I started off with my first Kickstarter, solo Kickstarter, Pop of Color, which was a fan art sketchbook that I put out. 14 backers.
I wasn't even counting those. I was just starting with EGORAVEN.
14 backers, $702. I mean, knowing absolutely nothing about the platform. I just popped something on there. I don't think I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did some social media posting, but I had no idea what I was doing. And
Right.
14 backers, I was still able to raise $700. So, I mean, that just goes to show you, right, that it's like. And then, like I said, now, and then like I did the House of Bob sketchbook, 43 backers, raised around $2,000. And then EGORAVEN issue 1, I jumped to 133 backers. So, it's like, it's a lot easier to build on Kickstarter. So my whole thing though, the way I'm looking at it, that I've just been like mulling over and kind of obsessing over these past couple of weeks, is kind of rebooting that other side of my art thing. Like right now, it's like I've just been completely concentrating on comics, when
Right.
before I used to do like prints and and stickers and kind of like things like that. But once I really started seriously getting into
Other
comics,
artisty things.
yeah, other artisty things, and it's like I just put that aside. But now it's like, especially after watching all of these videos, Artist Alley videos, and then in the end, it's like what all of these girls are doing as side jobs, or in some cases, this is their job. That it's like they do these conventions, they make stationery, they run Etsy shops. And that kind of had me thinking, it's like, what? It's like, maybe I should kind of expand a bit, like go back to what I was doing before and kind of like, it's like, I still just want to do Kickstarter. I'm not the type that I'm going to go jumping from platform to platform. Like I would rather spend that effort probably building something else on the side to kind of like balance myself out better, I guess. So it's like, yeah, I'm still kind of percolating the entire idea. It's like I did reopen my Etsy shop. I used to have one back in 2015. But I closed it because I didn't know what I was doing with it. And then I just reopened it. Luckily, they allowed me to reopen the same account. So now I have the comic books. I have all my comics on there right now. It's not open yet. I figured that I wait a little bit, probably after Baltimore, before really making a go of it. And then I have some ideas for some like separate like stationery type stuff, like stickers and bookmarks and whatnot. I was like, Hojo says, I'm interested in seeing what happens with my second Kickstarter campaign in a few months. I actually promoted this time. I only did just over $500, but the comeback is where I start making a brand. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of, that's kind of what, like, it's like, yeah, you
And
you
make
build,
sure to offer a catch-up tier, man.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Don't let anybody feel like they're missing out on something
Right.
because you're only offering like an issue 2 or however you're going to
Right.
do it. So yeah, always have a catch up tier for everybody who's just seeing you for the first time. That was the one piece of advice, ironically, from a person I didn't appreciate the advice from. Hello. And but it was the one piece of advice that they gave that really stuck with me, and I always made sure to kind of keep that in mind, is like always think about people who's never seen your campaign before.
Oh,
Always
I
think
know what
about,
bit you're
what does your
talking about.
campaign, yeah, what does your campaign look like to somebody
Right.
who doesn't know you,
Right.
and doesn't is not familiar with your work and has never seen it before. And I've always kept that in mind. It's like, you know what? Out of everything else that came out of your mouth that I didn't like, that was the one thing that
That was
resonated.
it.
Because everything else was just like pure like opinion that had nothing to do with me type of bullshit. But
Right.
that was the specific piece of advice that I said, you know what, that I can use. That I
Right.
can use. Everything else is just me catering to you specifically, and that has nothing to do with me. But this one, that I could use. So always keep in mind people who have never seen your campaign before. Always assume everybody coming to your campaign have no idea who you are, have no idea what your book is, and you need to explain it to them from scratch. So,
Yep.
which is actually, which actually I think it has worked out really well for me. So of course, another thing that I have been doing also is studying the Blade, the 1 hour content plan. Um, Still putting that together. Yeah, exactly. Available on Amazon. I got mine on Kindle with a second book, so it was like $7 for both of them. And the one thing that the book talks about that I kind of, had, I still kind of had an issue with, that I couldn't quite figure it out, is that they talk about your audience, like, your audience is looking for value in what you're doing. Like, if you want to build an audience, you have to offer your audience value. And that was like, I mean, honestly, I kind of thought that was a lot harder than trying to figure out who your like symbolic audience is that you're going to, cater your
Right.
content
Right.
to. But it's like, okay, so I do artwork. What's the value of artwork? What's the value of a comic book? What's the value, the consumer value of Isaac Bell told me that people feel more secure giving money to someone that's already fulfilled successfully. The hesitancy is gone. Plus, I will cater to the algorithm. Yes, no, absolutely. Always, that was also something that I recently started doing too, mentioning in my campaign, that the books are done, they're ready to ship. And I've done
Yeah.
X amount, and everything is
Yeah. Definitely talk about past
Everybody's
deployments.
in a reboot kind of mood, right? It's like we're all trying to rediscover ourselves again. And I to tell you the truth, I think it's kind of exciting. I think it's kind of exciting. Especially when
Every
you kind
time
of
I discover myself, it's exciting.
well, I'm talking about opening an Etsy store, young lady. Those are my clippers, right?
It really was, though. It really was.
There we go.
Thomas Clippers.
Yeah. So that was the thing that I was kind of a little stuck on. It's like, what's value in what I do?
Right.
What is a consumer? How does a consumer? I hate kind of talking like that, but in the end, I mean, that's kind of the angle we're all taking, right? We want people to buy our product if you just look at it like that. So it's like, what's the value that a consumer gets by buying our product? And I'm thinking, well, it's entertainment. I mean, it's like the value is there or whatnot. And it's like, but still, though, nothing was quite clicking. And I was watching YouTube, watching more of these Artist
Like you
Alley,
do.
like I do. And something came up, a video came up by a gentleman called Ergo Josh. This was a video from like 3 years ago. And he was talking about 6 things that customers only care about. And, out of curiosity, of course. I clicked it, and that's mostly her. You have
Damn,
to
Daphne, way to throw me under the bus.
you have to wait for my Kickstarter for
Yeah,
for
you
my
just
side of the
think
story.
I ain't got
Oh.
shit on that Kickstarter.
Yeah. So so it's like 6 things your customers only care about when it
Right.
comes to your work. Like, why should an audience member, anybody, give a shit about your artwork, give a shit about your comics, give a shit? He's mostly talking from a fine art perspective, but he does mention examples of comics, of comic book people, and he mentions Art Germ in some of his conversations. So it's not like he's just talking from a fine art perspective, but although that's his angle, but he does bring in comic book people as well. So it's like, okay, it's like, so this is something for everybody to consider. So he made his list of these 6 things from the hardest to gain for a creator like us, whether you're a writer, an artist, whatever, from the hardest to maintain to the easiest to latch on to.
Okay.
So these are the 6 things. So if you're ever curious about, say, how do I attract an audience? How do I attract a cold audience? If you cater to these 6 things, or you're able to take advantage of these 6 things, or even one of these 6 things, you're going to have an easier time finding an audience. Now, like I said, this is going to start from the hardest to the easiest entry point to kind of attract an audience. So number one, the one thing that the audience cares about, that is also the hardest thing for the average person to get to have, is fame. If you're famous, you can fucking sell anything.
Well, yeah.
It's like, if you're Keanu Reeves, all of a sudden people give a shit about your comic. You don't need to say anything else. Keanu Reeves comic, yeah. The whole thing with Good Omens on Kickstarter. Terry Pratchett, Neil Gaiman, Colleen Doran. They're converting. They're making a graphic novel adaptation of the novel Good Omens. $2 million.
Right.
People are willing to pay $2 million for this graphic novel. So obviously there is a crossover from.
But that's a given. Everybody knows that one.
Right.
That could have even
point.
been unspoken, because you think about it, that's something embedded in everything from the time we're children. Look at like fucking applesauce with fucking Sesame Street characters on it outselling Mott's because Elmo's on this shit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, actually, so it's like, so if you're famous, you can do anything. That's why you have to be careful when you study successful people, because one, there's survivorship bias that you have to account for,
right?
Because like, okay, who didn't make it and why didn't they make it, right? But like,
it's better to learn from the dead bodies than the ones.
Exactly, because studying Brian Pulido can only get you up to a certain point, because you can do everything exactly the way he does, but the only thing you don't have is that you're not Brian Pulido, and nobody knows who your character is. Everybody knows who Lady Death is.
Right.
Well, everybody in our circle, in our comic book circle, we all know who Lady Death is. We all know who Brian Pulido is. Todd McFarlane doesn't have to do much.
Right.
It's like so it's kind of like, you look at, like Mr. Beast, can you put up a video that just has an emoji in the title and it'll get like a bazillion views?
That bitch can sell half a candy bar for $2 fucking more than a fucking full-size Hershey bar because his name is on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it tastes like ass.
But it doesn't mean that you can do that.
No,
it's like, that's why you have like all these guys putting out like kind of like Lady Death wannabe type of books, but they're confused as to why they're not seeing the same type of success.
Right.
And it's like, well, because nobody knows about you and nobody gives a shit about your characters. So it's like, you're kind of missing 2 components there. So so if you have the fame, You can do whatever you want.
So one, accomplish the near impossible.
Yes,
All right.
exactly.
Cool.
But the advice that that he gives in regard to this, pretty much he says, fame. If people know you, they want your stuff. If you're a star, then people will pay top dollar for even the crappiest sketch, just because your name is associated with it. Because you're famous, and people love star fucking. So
Cool.
So the second thing that an audience is attracted to, but again, it's like you don't want to depend on just one of these things, but this one, number 2, skill level. And if you're good, then that's cool and important. It's like, as he puts it, if you're good, you need to be really good. Being skillful is not enough. It's like, I had made them when I was telling Jose this, like I said that it's like, yeah, you have to be on the top of your game. And Jose goes, no, you have to be on top of the game if you want to get over on skill alone, because you can be on the top of your game and still suck.
Right. See it every day.
Yeah, it's like, so if you want to get over on skill, your audience will appreciate skill, but you have to be at the highest level of that. You have to be your Arthur Adams, your Bernie Wrightsons, it's like you have to be at that level for skill to transcend an audience. It's like, it's not enough to just be good at what you do, so if you have the skill, you can get over, but it has to be at a very high level. Just like you don't have to be at a very high level. I've seen people with no skill, but because they have the fame, they're able to sell anything. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of like this weird combination of things. It's like a very bizarre Venn diagram. So fame is the hardest. Then you have skill is the next, is like below that. So you can kind of build up to skill if you really work at it. But like I said, you have to be on the top of the game for you to only worry about your skill attracting.
But it's not for the average person. It's not going to be one of these things. It's going to be an accumulation. As many as you can combine.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, so the audience cares about fame. They can't care about your skill level. So what's the next thing they care about? Emotional resonance or relevance. So if people can relate to it in their own life or feelings, they get interested.
Right.
A kind of like the extreme version of this is the Hello Kitty effect, where it's like you create something that just resonates to the most amount of people. Actually, I guess it's like, yeah, it's like if you can, and mind you, the emotional resonance can be positive or negative. It's the reason why drama also attracts people. Hold on.
Bless you.
Thank you. So how would this translate to writers? So what does that say?
He said we can wait until you're done naming them.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like, so emotional resonance. If you're whatever you're creating, and I would assume this would also include writing. I mean, because going back to skill, right? Jose had said that the only thing that can transcend shitty artwork in a comic is if you're Alan Moore or Neil Gaiman.
Right.
It's like anybody else, you need really good artists to get the attention your book needs if you want people to read your stuff. So 3, emotional resonance. And so number 3 is where I would like to think I'm going for. I would like to think that once people read my stuff, that it's like that they'll make that connection with my work. Because I'm definitely not Arthur Adams, that's for sure. And I'm absolutely not Mr. Beast. So I'm kind of hoping that I have, like, I'm kind of floating around emotional resonance there. It's the reason why an anime like Violet Evergarden completely put me in a stranglehold. you know,
You
because it's
cry
like, yeah, it
like
made
every
me,
episode.
yeah, exactly. Good ugly cry, bad ugly cry, everything. That this shit has me crying every episode. And this is where it got me, emotional resonance. I mean, it's beautiful. So skill, it's taking advantage of skill, but it's the emotional resonance that really, really attracted me to
Right.
the stuff. So that's kind of where I like to be, is to, you know, emotional resonance. But yeah, it's like tug people's heartstrings by targeting feelings, emotions, be relatable, niche down, have a message, be personal, tell your own stories, be expressive, connect with people. This is, you know, this is where I, you know, like to be. So it's like, but yeah, so this is kind of like the middle of the it's like there are a lot of $1 million skill artists with 10-cent brains out there. Yes, you have to be at the top of the game itself. Can't be a jerk to people, regardless
Unless you were number one, because
yeah,
number one, if you're famous, you can be a total asshole.
yeah, you can do it. Yeah, it's like fame, you know, fame will allow you to get, yeah, because like I said, I've seen a lot of famous YouTubers selling shit that they have no business selling, but they do. You know, I mean, it's like I've followed artists who became famous on YouTube, and you know, pretty much they're YouTubers who happen to do art, not the other way around, and they make bank. You know, because the fame came first, not their skill as an artist. Um, so yeah, that it, like I said, this is all like a combination of things to kind of like gain your audience. So number 3 is emotional resonance. So this is kind of like a more attainable level on here. Now we're going to get into the more easy.
It was an
you know,
accident.
now we're getting to the more easier ways of attracting an audience. I don't think this one is going to surprise anybody at all. Fan art and trends. If you do this, it's a good strategy to build fame, but it's risky.
Right.
In some aspects, although it is easy to get viewers by leeching off of media that they already know and enjoy, you know, it's like, you know, also what happens when those trends die out.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's like, you know, make sure you see, and here's the catch, which was
And
the
how do you
mistake.
guarantee that crossover? How do you guarantee that this
Right.
fan art is going to bring them to your original art?
Right,
To
which
your
was the mistake.
characters?
Yeah, which is the mistake that I made the first time, my first time around. I was just making fan art for the sake of fan art. I was just saying, well, Harley Quinn is trendy, Deadpool is trendy,
Right.
but I didn't like either of those characters. I actually don't like Harley Quinn.
No, me either.
You know, if there's a character that I really actively dislike without even
However,
knowing anything
Margot
about the character,
Robbie, that bitch was hot. But
well,
still, but
Margot
that's
Robbie
it.
is brilliant.
I don't like Harley Quinn.
You know, I mean, it's like, look, if you want to know how brilliant Margot Robbie is, watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She barely has any lines, but every scene she is in, she owns. Like, she literally doesn't have to say a word to just decimate everybody in the scene. You know, so it's like, yeah, Margot Robbie, completely different thing. The woman is brilliant. But so that's what I was doing, and it's like, and I was wondering why I wasn't getting that crossover. So now, being a little bit more deliberate minded, that this is the thing. So this is the advice that he gives: make sure you really care about it and enjoy it.
Right.
You know, because also he said if you niche down too deep, then all of your fans are predicated on your fan art only.
Yeah.
You know, which was the mistake that I made. I was trying to dig a little too deep with the fan art, you know, just running with trends that I didn't care about. And so in the end, I was only attracting people who only cared about that thing and nothing else. So now I'm going to be a little bit more deliberate about it if I do fan art. You know, actually, he's recommending, and I've been seeing this with anime shows too, where now they're only allowing artists in Artist Alley if they have 50%. So you have to have 50% fan art, 50% original artwork on your table. You cannot have 100% fan art. So he's saying, ergo Josh is saying 50-50 fan original is a good ratio for beginners. So if I were to do fan art again, yes, it would be completely related to EGORAVEN and Tall Tales.
Right.
It's like, okay, this fan art inspired this original artwork. That's how I'm going to be looking at it from here on in.
Homage
not
art.
yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. So the hope is that, yeah, they'll buy my fan art but then become curious because there's a connection. They can
Right.
easily, the curiosity is easier to take advantage of, so that's yeah, so fan art and trends. This is, I guess, this would be the easier way of trying to build an audience. This next one, I don't think is going to surprise anybody at all. Anybody who has a pulse, anybody who's been anywhere in art, in creative circles, anywhere, even in comics, nudes, lewds, and hardcore porn.
Whoop.
You want to attract an
What?
audience almost immediately, go straight there. Actually, that's why it's number 2. This is the second easiest way to attract an audience. It's the second, it's not only, remember, these are the 6 things that your audience cares about. Okay, so it's like, if your artwork doesn't, so if you, whatever you're doing doesn't fit in these 6 categories, you are in for a hard time. So nudes, lewds, and hardcore porn. Sex sells. If you do sexier stuff, it will usually get more viewership. But be careful on public places about this, as pushing too far can lead to viewer alienation and the ban hammer. And mind you, you don't even need to push that hard. I got booted off of Patreon because I showed too much butt cheek. Not me personally, my artwork. Let me rephrase that.
Well, then, now I'm disappointed.
So, I mean, I had artwork in my banner that I thought was no different than a Sports Illustrated, and they say, no, you have to get rid of that banner too. And it's like, okay, I'm done here, because it's like, one, it put me on some uptight ass's radar. And it's like, you know what? If that's what's going to take, it's like, why am I even bothering? It's like, I'm not taking a chance. And the thing is, and I've been seeing that a lot too. A lot of adult artists on Patreon leaving Patreon because all of a sudden what was okay for the past couple of years now wasn't okay anymore.
We changed our minds.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem. You're at the whims of whoever's interpreting their terms of service. And like, there's this one artist, Hamlet Machine, that I follow. Beautiful, gorgeous, erotic artwork. She had to create her own website with server. Like, she had to like a closed off server for her own website just so she can host her own stuff there, because she got tired of worrying about platforms, like turning on her.
Right.
Because Patreon was giving her a hard time. So she decided it was safer. So if something happened to her Patreon, that she had her own spot where she could offer up her own memberships and everything. So that's the thing. So yes. So here's the advice that he gives on that. Pictures of pretty women are more popular than men. Jose's theory, nobody wants to see a naked guy. I challenge that. I challenge that by saying, well, people do want to see naked werewolves. Split your work on 2 platforms. That whole concept of don't be horny on main. That's what this is. Make one platform just for your porn, another one just for your regular stuff, but always be cautious about losing your account. But if you can, push forward with it, people do pay good money for this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, look, that's how I made my name, kind of reluctantly, in furry fandom, because holy shit, were people willing to pay for that stuff. So, but the thing is, it's like, if it's not something you want to be completely known for, you have to, there you go, Alison. I agree. Yeah, you just have to, you have to strategize, because platforms can turn on you on a second, so that's the thing. It's like, look, we lost an entire channel.
Huh.
You know,
In the
we
blink of
thought,
an eye. We
yeah,
didn't even
blink of
know
an
it was
eye,
gone,
no
and it was
warning,
gone.
no nothing. YouTube took down our After Dark channel without, you know, and it's like, okay, there we go. We had to pull
I didn't
House
even
of
get a
Bob.
warning. Didn't
How
even
we
get a
had to,
warning.
yeah, exactly. We had to pull House of Bob and everything because we didn't want to risk losing this channel. So unfortunately, that's the that's the
And now I
thing
got
that,
that PTSD from it.
yeah, I know, really, that's exactly what happened with when I went with Patreon. I ended up with this, I ended up like really, really skittish because of that. So the last thing that people care about as an audience member, how would they put value on your work? So the easiest way to gain an audience is to do commissions.
Yeah.
You start off, you know, start off building an audience, you start doing commissions. The only thing though is that if you do commissions, you provide value to only one person.
Right.
And it is difficult to grow only on commissions. However, the more famous you are, the more commissions you'll get.
There's that
So
famous again.
there we go. So we loop back to number one. So these are, so for those of you just joining us, these are the 6 things that if you're building an audience, these are the 6 things that your customers or potential customers care about when it comes to your work, no matter what it is. You know, so whether you're a writer, an artist, you know, a publisher, if you're trying to figure out what does the audience value, how do I prescribe value to my work, to what I'm offering, right? Because that's what the book, you know, it's like the 1-hour content plan. What's the value are you providing, you know, to your audience? Well, turns out there's 6 things, there's 6 categories that it seems like consumers. Now, I don't know how general this is. You know, now, as I always say, your mileage may vary, but you know what? Anything that kind of like helps me focus everything that we're putting together, like, yeah, how do I ascribe value to my work when, you know,
Right.
in terms of creating content and whatnot? If I understand that these are 6 things that customers look for, that then I'm at least I'll be able to focus a bit. So number 1 is fame. Be famous. You can sell anything. Have a very high skill set. Very high skill set. Have emotional, your work has to have emotional resonance or relevance, right? Or you can do fan art and trends, nudes, lewds, and hardcore porn, or you could just offer commissions. So if you kind of look at your audience as looking for these 6 things, what 6 things? These are how they look at it. Like they have 6 compartments. How many of these compartments does your work fit in? You know, I think like I guess it's like the more compartments you fit in, the more the wider your audience gets. But the more you compress into an individual compartment, you really have to be like at a high level, not your level in general, to your customer's level.
Right.
You have to meet your customer's high level for that one specific category. You know, if you just want to be famous, you better be fucking famous. Like, you better be Keanu Reeves. You better be Mr. Beast. You better be, you know, you better have like 1 million viewers on YouTube, a million.
You better have a million people following your Roku channel.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like you have to be famous for you to do anything and make it work, right? Your skill level. If you just want people to look at your skill level, yeah, you have to be an Arthur Adams. You have to be, you know, a Bernie Wrightson.
Right.
You have to be a Todd McFarlane. You have to be like on top of that skill set, not your definition of your skill set, but the skill set. You know, because it's like, you know, it's kind of like how people get really easily impressed with photorealistic pencils. You know, it's like that was for a bit. You know, it's like people who could do photo, like they could copy a photo exact. You know, and it's like to us it doesn't mean anything, but to an average person, it's like, oh my God, you're like a human Xerox machine, and all of a sudden, you know, people are buying prints of these things. So So emotional resonance, does your work emotionally connect with the audience somehow? Is it a story they can relate to? We talk about, it's like, I talk about like doing my work for an audience of one, i.e. me. Like that's where it starts. I'm writing EGORAVEN for me. But it's a lot more fun when I'm able to share it. And I want my work to have that emotional resonance that people can relate to the story, even if it's some fantastical fantasy story about a unicorn fighting dragons, that even anybody reading it can kind of like see themselves in that story, because there's something in that story that they relate to, that there's an angle in that story, that they say, oh, I know how that feels like,
Yeah.
it's like, like the
Which is
whole
why the sex always sells, because we
right, which
all
is
know
what
what that's
sex,
like.
right. So, well, but before then you have fan art and trends. What's another easiest way to, if you can't connect people on emotional level, connecting to something they love, connecting to their nostalgia for something is an easier way to do it. It's like, I follow a Rankin and Bass group where they're showing all this, stuff from Rudolph and The Last Unicorn and The Hobbit. It's like all the Rankin and Bass stuff. And it's like, I feel good when I see those things. I'm on a group that's like, they put up cells and stuff of the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. I can't watch that shit at all. I've completely outgrown watching it, but I can look at like the artwork and stuff all day. There's just something like, the warm fuzzies for everybody type of thing. If you can, it's like that's an easier way to get that audience. But if you really want to get that attention really, really fast, nudes, lewds, and hardcore porn, man, it's like that's, what? Look, that's part of the experiment on September 25th, right? When I do the medieval unicorn Viking slut campaign. You got your general audiences, you got your mature audiences, and holy shit, do you get the adult stuff?
Yeah, you do.
You can find pretty much everything, a little bit of everything on this campaign coming up. And and if you're just starting out and you want to kind of get your foot in the door, commissions, again, the value, you're literally providing a literal value. Someone is saying, I want to pay you for this artwork, and you're saying, yes, this is what the artwork is worth, here you go, there you go.
Right.
It's like, that's and then you can build up from there. I mean, honestly, that's what's the difference between my first sketchbook campaign and my second sketchbook campaign. From $700 to $2,000 was the fact on that second campaign I offered commissions. So that's a good way to get your foot in the door. I guess it's like here's the thing though, which is really funny about this video. He had some general advice for everybody. If you couldn't fit in to these 6 categories, if for some reason what you're making doesn't fit in any of these categories, and mind you, he's talking about creatives. I think he's talking more about a fine art angle, but he did mention comic book people throughout this entire video. General advice: if for some reason your stuff is unable to fit in any of these categories to satisfy a consumer need for your artwork, he literally says, get a day job.
We should have one of those anyway, unless you're famous.
Get a day job. Get a day job to meet your basic needs in order to improve your quality. Make sacrifices to achieve your long-term goal. Go back to go forward further. Build good daily habits and self-care. Limit distractions. Care about what you draw. Care about what you create. And then you can start moving in to these 6 categories that will give your audience, that will make your audience value what you do.
Right.
and then it says like, really, it's like he was saying, really, to get noticed, as with any business, it's about the value you provide to your users slash audience slash whoever it is you want looking at your work. The general strategy is to build up your skill level and provide emotional relatability and relevance through your art while engaging with your fans. Maintain a healthy balance of fan art and trends to original artwork to grow fame faster. Do porn on the side if you need to make money, as well, and as for other commissions, maintain a balance in order to continue your growth. So this is kind of how you can maintain. What's funny, because like if you maintain the first 5, maybe you can get to number 6. Although maintaining the first 5 doesn't guarantee you'll get to 6, which is fame, right? But you know what? It's like if you kind of look at these 6 things in this, I guess what he considers a healthy way, you'll be able to move forward with what you're doing, and understand how you're going to sell your work. I mean, as much as we want to say that's like, oh, it's just for me, and it's like, I'm throwing this out there, and for some reason, you're having a hard time. It's like people are not going to come to you for no reason.
Right.
If you're doing something unusual and quirky, you have to accept the fact that there's a limitation to that, unless you're fulfilling these 6 needs. I mean, it's like, you know what? No, people are only going to come to you if you have something to offer them. And it's like I said, it's kind of a weird way to think about your work. But the thing is, though, is like, isn't that kind of in the end what we're doing here? What is it that we want, to accomplish with what we're doing, right? We're talking about like, how do we get ahead on Kickstarter? Maybe, and for me, I'm thinking maybe Kickstarter is not where I'm going to get ahead. Maybe doing these side things, on Etsy.
Right.
Maybe that's the push that I need. Not kind of like figuring out how do I get, it's like where, it's kind of like that. Like I said, I've been mulling this all over, these past couple of weeks, but I'm not really going to know for sure until after Baltimore. All I'm trying to do is just finish these books. So HR says, I'm investing building the studio and art materials needed, building for release. It ain't cheap. No, it's not. I see gaps people hasn't taken, and I'm diving deep into those areas. I'm on a mission. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, thank you. Like I said, we try. And like I said, this is all stuff from an original video by Ergo Josh on YouTube, and it was from 3 years ago. So
Right.
I'm just finding out about this now.
Hence the importance of evergreen content.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Which is also why you need to be careful with fan art and trends. Because not necessarily evergreen. There might be something that's hot now that might not be hot like 3 years from now, and you still have stock of that shit, lying in a corner somewhere. So that's also, be very deliberate in the choices that you're making. That's kind of the theme that I'm going with. Being very deliberate with what I'm doing. So do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, I think we should talk about your campaign. I got a date with the DMV, Daphne.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yes, you do. So, so I would like to thank the 129 people who have pledged to EGORAVEN Air the First Unicorn issue 7 so far, raising $3,119. Thank you so much. I would really, really like to make it to 5K in 6 days. Can we do it? I don't know. A lot can happen in 6 days. We're going to be closing out the campaign next Friday, so make sure to join us there. This time I'll make sure to give stuff away. I've been forgetting to give stuff away these past couple of weeks, but next Friday I'll be giving away some more cool stuff for everybody who backs the campaign at a physical level. Also remember, where's my cursor? The Oswald Chronicles. I was there and I remember issues 1 through 4 is also on Kickstarter right now. Thank you so much. The 58 backers, 13 more days to go. This is the complete I was there and I remember miniseries issues 1 through 4 on the campaign. Also, you can always get all previous issues of the Oswald Chronicles as well on the campaign. Speaking of nudes, lewds, and hardcore porn, EGORAVEN, Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut, the 3-comic short set, will be premiering September 25th on Kickstarter. Like I said, this is a 3-comic set. All 3 books are standalones. One of them is going to be the general audiences connected to the main Heir of the First Unicorn series. The other 2 are special editions that are only going to be available on Kickstarter. So Unicorn King's Daughter and Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut, you will only be able to get on the campaign. So if I will not offer these in my store or my Etsy or anything like that after the campaign ends, although the Tales from the Outer Kingdoms will be the one to be available afterwards. But if you want the special stuff, you have to get it on the campaign. September 25th. And on September 25th, its sister campaign, Sky of Thorns, an epic fantasy romance special edition, a 3-volume romance novel set, fantasy romance by Krista Crawford. So if you pledge to both of our campaigns during the time that they're live, you will get a special bonus collaboration print of EGORAVEN and Sybil, which is her unicorn character from this book. Also, I will have an exclusive stretch goal print on her campaign, on the Sky of Thorns campaign. So keep an eye out for that. That also launches on September 25th. Magi's Grace, Sex and Monsters launches Monday. The collaboration book between J.D. Calderon and C. Michael Lanning launches on Monday. So make sure that you hit the notify me on launch. Thank you so much for the 111 backers. Well, I wish 111 followers who clicked notify me. You will get notified when the campaign goes live on Monday. But yes, so Magi's Grace, Sex and Monsters, the story of 2 monster hunters who are investigating the strange goings on a small seaside town, because that's where all the strange stuff is happening. Also now on Kickstarter as well, with 9 days to go, Fearless Dawn, Frank Forte and Steve Mannion. Absolutely gorgeous books. 9 days left to go. Thank you so much to the 149 backers. I mean, really, you want beautiful artwork? This is it. I mean, this one, you got skill, you got sexy, you got fame, you got everything on here on this one campaign. So go, so go pick that up right now. And last but not least, Nina Aberlein's the Lusty Dragon Mistress, the Not Safe for Work short. No, not short. It's 48 pages, 48-page comic. Originally, it was a web comic that she is now offering as a comic book in both hard copy, digital versions, and a video version. I thought that was pretty interesting. So if you can actually get a video comic version of this. So thank you so much to the 102 backers, 24 days to go. She's just killing it with this book. So thank you so much. All links are in the link tree in the show notes below. If there's a campaign that you want to help support, or if you just want to hit the notify me so you get notified when it goes live so you can support it then. So, that worked out pretty well. I actually like the way that went. So anything else, Nita, that we should know about? No? Okay. Yeah. Just stuff. Nita's got to go to the DMV and get her license. Yeah, exactly. We'll be back Monday. So if you want to see more of my portfolio, learn more about me and my artwork and all that stuff, head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWRKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook if you are interested in seeing sketches and current work in progress updates. And remember, you can catch me on YouTube for all my videos on how I make this stuff. and my semi-weekly art live stream Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. If you missed my last stream on this last Wednesday, you can check that out in the playlist on either of the channels on YouTube as well. And remember, you can also raid EGORAVEN, Heir the First Unicorn, for free, uploading every day, Monday through Friday. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales Online. That's TAILS. And not only can you read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free, you can catch up on the latest story arc, Tears of the Mother, which is also currently uploading Monday through Friday. Thank you so much, everybody in the chat, for joining us and keeping us company, even with the slow start. Thank you so much to all my beautiful eyeball people who joined us for the hour. I hope you found this at least something to think about, things to chew on, at least entertaining. Who knows? We hope you got something out of it, because God knows we're not famous, so you're not getting fame out of us just yet. So thank you so much, yeah, I know, right? So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, make sure you have a current ID before you go on an airplane.
Oh my God!
Mind your business. Mind your business and do the work, so that when you actually do the work, because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.